Live from the National News Studio, Sri Lanka.
Good evening, this is the National News Broadcast, bringing you your stories for tonight. I'm Prashant De Silva.
And I'm Sharma Screeners. First, it's a look at the day's headlines.
Milk powder price to reduce between 100 and 150 rupees. IGP issues warnings to the underworld in the southern part of the country. Stern legal action against saboteurs of the government program, Cabinet spokesman emphasizes. Construction of the business centre of Colombo Port City begins. Bill for the establishment of the National Teachers' Council in Parliament within a month. Haiti Prime Minister resigns.
Now for those and other stories in detail, starting off with local news. Minister Nalin Fernando says the prices of imported milk powder will be reduced between 100 and 150 rupees per kilogram. He further said that the price reduction is expected to be implemented from next Friday, following discussions with the milk powder importers. The price is expected to be reduced in line with the Ramazan and Singal and Tamil New Year festival seasons. Accordingly, a kilogram of milk powder packet will be reduced by 150 rupees. Minister of Trade Nalin Fernando said that currently Sri Lanka imports big onions from various other countries. He said that a kilogram of big onion, which remained between 100 and 125 rupees, has climbed up between 600 to 650 rupees. He said that a decision has been reached to import mid-sized onions to Sri Lanka and promote locally produced red onion. Meanwhile, the minister engaged in a discussion with Peta market wholesale traders regarding the price controls on big onions in the market. Big onion imports to Sri Lanka from India and Pakistan were temporarily suspended in the recent past. As a result, traders point out that the prices of big onions continue to increase in the market. At present, the price of 1 kilogram of imported big onions is between 560 rupees to 580 rupees. Even though the prices of big onions have skyrocketed, the demand for Jaffna red onions remain high. Big onions imported from China are available at the Dambulla Economic Centre at present. The traders have said that there is a high demand for
Reached to table the bill for the establishment of the National Teachers' Council in Parliament within a month. The decision was taken when the Cabinet Committee to formulate and implement a national education policy framework convened yesterday under the patronage of President Ranil Wickremesinghe at the President's office. The committee comprises 8 ministers, including Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena and Education Minister Susil Premajayantha. Within the committee are outlined short-term and medium-term strategies aimed at transforming the education sector. During the meeting, the committee focused specifically on urgent and critical measures necessary to address immediate challenges within the current education landscape. A bill to establish a National Council for Teachers aimed at fostering active teacher participation in decision-making and enhancing the professionalization of teaching services through the introduction of a teacher certification system will be presented to the Council of Ministers and subsequently to Parliament within a month. This decision has been finalized and is set to move forward for approval. However, though 24 years have elapsed, these subjects are currently taught in English medium in only 765 schools. Given the significant societal demand for English medium education, it was proposed in today's meeting. President Ranil Wickremesinghe emphasizes the importance of education instilling resilience in children, encouraging them to confront challenges with unwavering principles.
He made these remarks while attending the sesquicentennial banquet of Wesley College, Colombo last night at the Shangri-La Hotel, Colombo, as the chief guest. The keynote address at the celebration was delivered by Professor R. Somanathan, an alumnus of Wesley College who is currently serving at the University of San Diego, USA. The theme of his address was Artificial Intelligence and the Future of Learning and Teaching Methods. The event was also featured by colourful performances by veteran musicians including Alston Cock and the Delannoy brothers. In recognition of the President's presence at the anniversary celebration, he was honoured with a special commemorative gift and a book compiled on the 150th anniversary of Wesley College and its illustrious history. British High Commissioner in Sri Lanka Andrew Patrick, Principal of Wesley College Avanka Fernando and clergy members from various denominations such as Methodist, Anglican and Baptist churches were present at the occasion.
It gives me great pleasure to be here with you on the 150th anniversary, the starting of Wesley College, and to say thank you on behalf of the nation for the services you have rendered in building up an independent Sri Lanka. This is the second time I am here for an anniversary, so I thought I would say here, think of the school and the contribution it has made. When you started, we were close by. We were in San Sebastian, you were in Dam Street. But it's a great service that has been done by Wesley in producing people who in turn molded the nation. You molded the people, leaders, they molded the nation. Your school and mine, first task was to make men who could stand up, who could take decisions, who were not frightened. We were made, the characters were formed in these schools. And that is why we are here today rendering our services to this nation. Not to run away. That is not what you have learned or I have learned. But to stick to our principles and to advance it at all times. And you have certainly produced people of that caliber. We have produced, and also some other school. This is what education is. It is also learning of books. It is also learning of sports. It's learning of many issues. And also AI. In fact, we are going to promote AI clubs in the schools. And a new law will come on AI and AI agents. And about ₹1 billion in our sense have been set aside this year to fund AI research. As things go on, we will go much better. But what concerns me is your school and other schools which fall into the category of private schools. The leftover, the remainder of a big schooling system which was there before 1962. When we were in school, we had the government schools and the private schools and the assisted schools. Unfortunately, you all are now becoming stuck, squeezed in one side by the government schools and other side by the international schools. Where do you go? What is your future? We have been discussing this, and I would like to come up with a scheme where the government can also help these schools which have rendered a service to our nation. I think you all also are deserving of financial support, how we can give it and what instance are matters to be turned down. Because we want you there. You have made this service and you can do more. So we will, in the new reforms that are being carried out, instance of schools promoting English language, and in midst that we certainly will ensure that these schools have a role to play. We recognize what you have done and we will certainly go ahead.
Clearance of the Attorney General has been received for the draft Bill of Recovery of Loans by Banks Special Provisions Amended Act. The Cabinet of Ministers granted approval for the resolution forwarded by President Ranil Wickremesinghe in his capacity as a Minister of Finance, Economic Stabilization and National Policies to publish the said draft bill in the Government Gazette notification and subsequently forward it to the Parliament for their approval. A decision was taken at the meeting of the Cabinet of Ministers held on the 26th to revive the recovery of loans by banks, Special Provisions Act No. 4 of 1990. Accordingly, the approval was granted to suspend the actions taken by banks to auction any property that has been kept pawn as security for loans that has been restrained by the debtors without payments up to December 15th.
Minister Bandula Gunawardena said that this temporary move to provide a relief period will remain until December 15, considering the economic difficulties. He said that the Parate execution law will not be revoked, but will only be temporarily suspended. He pointed out that the need to amend the law and the cabinet approval was granted to bring necessary amendments. He said that this measure was taken to reduce the pressure imposed to small and medium-scale entrepreneurs and industrialists due to the economic difficulties and to avoid the implementation of the Parate execution law.
It has been proposed to prepare a mechanism to reserve Homagama Base Hospital on the basis of resource sharing for the clinical training of medical faculty students of the National School of Business Management as well as professor unit facilities. The National School of Business Management has agreed to provide necessary funds for the development of Homagama Base Hospital in accordance with the standards of medical education published by the Sri Lanka Medical Council. The Cabinet of Ministers approved the proposal presented by President Ranil Wickremesinghe to Colombo-based hospital under the purview of the Ministry of Health and upgraded as a teaching hospital.
Minister Bandula Gunawardena said that the Homagama Hospital, which is under the Provincial Council, will be reserved for the clinical training of medical faculty students of the NSBM as well as professor unit facilities on the basis of resource sharing. He said that NSBM has agreed to provide necessary funds for the development of Homagama-based hospital.
It has been planned to implement a program with the aim of empowering the families benefiting under the Aswasama Social Welfare Scheme economically, socially and mentally within 3 years. Accordingly, the Cabinet of Ministers approved the proposal presented by President Ranil Wickremesinghe to launch a pilot program using Asian Development Bank and World Bank financing and local funds targeting 16,000 beneficiary families in the selected divisional secretariats covering all 25 districts as the initial phase of the program. The relevant program will be implemented to empower the identified beneficiary families in all the divisional secretariats of the island based on the results of the pilot project.
The Japanese government has expanded its cooperation to grant immediate humanitarian grants for the communities devastated in the present economic crisis prevailing within Sri Lanka and by empowering the government sector for upgrading the economic situation of the country. Accordingly, the government of Japan has agreed to grant approximately 3.3 billion rupees to implement the projects under Japanese Economic and Social Development Program. The Cabinet of Ministers granted approval to the proposal furnished by the President to sign the exchange papers and other with the government of Japan in order to receive donation grants under the Japanese Economic and Social Development Program for the implementation of the projects. Now, Cabinet spokesman Minister Bandula Gunawardena says that the strict legal action will be taken against any entity who will attempt to sabotage the measures undertaken by the government. He made these remarks while responding to a query raised by a journalist at the cabinet briefing regarding alleged sabotages taking place in the Department of Postal Services. Minister Bandula Gunawardena said that various entities could linger within different media outlets in an effort to sabotage and derail the economic progression achieved through many difficulties, not only in the Department of Postal Services but in other sectors as well. Therefore, he said that if there are any concerns or issues, those can be resolved through negotiations and understanding. He pointed out that the general public are victims of these trade unions. He said that if an entity attempts to sabotage the efforts undertaken by the government for a political agenda, then strict action will be taken in institutional levels as well as through the CID. Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena said that business centre of the Colombo Port City ambitious vision of making Sri Lanka a thriving business hub and a vibrant maritime cluster.
He made these remarks while speaking at the groundbreaking ceremony of the business centre of Colombo Port City today. Colombo Port City is a visionary multi-billion-dollar project that aims to redefine Sri Lanka's economic and social landscape. Built on reclaimed land adjacent to the heart of Sri Lanka's capital, Colombo, Colombo Port City offers a cosmopolitan lifestyle, world-class infrastructure and sustainable living. Minister Bandula Gunawardena, State Ministers Dilum Amunagama were present on this occasion. Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena described it as the most significant event marking the advent of Sri Lanka's most ambitious development project in recent times. Pointing out that Sri Lanka has been a historic hub for trade and investment for thousands of years, the Prime Minister said the biggest advantage of our country is its strategic location. He said that this project also offers an ideal environment for businesses to innovate. Sri Lanka is destined to become a major economic hub in the region, and he said that he is confident the port city of Colombo will certainly accelerate that process. Premier Gunawardena emphasized that with reforms enacted, the port city will become one of the easiest places to do business in the region, further cementing its prospects as the gateway to South Asia and central hub for East and West.
The construction of the business center. This project is a latest concrete action China takes to support Sri Lanka, and it will send a strong message to the international community that Sri Lanka is back on the right track, thus enabling the island to attract more investment. Throughout the history, China and Sri Lanka have always enjoyed a long-standing friendship. No matter what difficulties Sri Lanka has encountered, China has stood and will always stand with the Sri Lanka people. To promote Sri Lanka economic recovery, China has taken the need in reach tentative agreement with Sri Lanka on the debt treatment through the Export-Import Bank of China, setting a good example for other creditors to follow. Port City Colombo serves as a powerful engine that plays a crucial role to help Sri Lanka recover its economy and achieve prosperity. As a result, both our countries attach great importance to this flagship project of the Belt and Road Initiative. Last year, His Excellency President Wickremesinghe visited China, where he once again emphasized that Sri Lanka will continue to actively participate in the Belt and Road Initiative. During the third Belt and Road Forum for International Cooperation, the leaders of both countries envisioned the Port City Colombo to become the financial and modern services hub of the region, and agreeing to make joint efforts to fully promote the rapid development of the Port City Colombo and made it part of the financial center in the BRI system in Indian Ocean. The inauguration of the business center is a step closer to our common goals. It will provide a platform for global business and an ecosystem for corporate enterprises to thrive. China and Sri Lanka will continue to reinforce its cooperation, closely monitor the development of flagship projects such as Port City Colombo, and provide necessary support. Sri Lanka is an important partner of China. Therefore, the Chinese government and the business have committed to contributing towards Sri Lanka's major infrastructure projects and greatly promoted the economic development of Sri Lanka.
We went through the recession. We also would like to thank Czech Port City and also Excellency the Ambassador for the support given to the government at the difficult times. And as our chairman stated, the groundwork or the preliminary construction work is almost or 90% completed. And Excellency the Prime Minister, now it's time to start the constructing. While walking in also, I saw the MDs or the chairmen of companies who have already been authorized as APs, who have received their permits. The first development permit was issued to Mr. Wong from Czech Lanka or Czech Ports, China Harbour. And in future, we are looking forward to other companies also commencing their construction. As chairman stated, the only delay that is holding them back is the banking regulations, which is currently formulated at the central bank. We held discussions, a couple of discussions last week as well. So I want to give the other authorized persons some good news that hopefully maximum within another 2 to 3 weeks, the banking regulations will also be out and we will be ready to go. Excellency Ranil Wickremesinghe is coming up with the new investment law, which will be drafted and which will be passed in Parliament shortly, where we will be able to bypass all these cumbersome old rules and regulations and, as you said, the approvals to get into an investment, and where we can have an actual one-stop shop and not the other one-stop shops that we have right now. It will be a real one-stop shop in future once we have the new investment regulations drafted.
4 have been killed from 2 shooting incidents which took place in Pitigula and Ambalangura areas last night.
5 others have also been injured from these incidents. A shooting had occurred last night near a shop in Guruwala Pitigula area. 2 unidentified individuals arrived in a motorcycle had opened fire, while the police suspect that the gunman had used a T-56 firearm. One person had died on the spot, while another succumbed to injuries upon hospitalization. The other injured persons are receiving treatments at Alpitia Base Hospital and Karapitia Hospital. The shooting had allegedly taken place targeting an owner of a shop near Guruwala Junction. The shop owner had fled from the scene, while the deceased and the injured are reported to be bystanders. Meanwhile, 2 had died inside a shop in Galagoda Ambalangoda area from another shooting incident. The police have said that 3 have been injured. Reports have indicated that 2 unidentified suspects have arrived in a motorcycle, had opened fire using a T-56 firearm. The injured have been admitted to the Balapitia Hospital. Responding to these shooting incidents, IGP Deshabandhu Thenakone issued warnings to the underworld in the southern part of the country over such crimes.
Ambassador of Japan to Colombo, Mizukoshi Hideki, signed grant contracts extending nearly $104,000 to Sri Lanka. The contracts were signed under the Grants Assistant for Grassroots Human Security Projects scheme. The grants have been provided for medical and dairy facility improvement in the northern province. The government of Japan prioritizes developing conflict-affected areas as part of its official development assistance policy. Japan has been providing various forms of support, particularly in the northwestern province, to promote peace building and reconciliation efforts. Ambassador Mizuoki highlighted the project's contribution to social service infrastructure, benefiting vulnerable rural areas and promoting harmony among ethnic and religious groups.
Today marks a significant milestone as we gather to celebrate the signing of grant contracts with the Mulai Cooperative Hospital and the Livestock Breeders Cooperative Society, LIBCO, for the Grassroots and Human Security Project, GGP, for the vulnerable people of the Northern Province. These projects are particularly timely and relevant, considering the Northern Province's economic and social difficulties caused by the prolonged civil war that concluded in 2009. The project, signed with the Mulai Cooperative Hospital, will involve the renovation of the maternity ward and labor room, along with the provision of medical equipment for the hospital in Jaffna district. There is a critical need to improve nutritional outcomes for low-income households, especially those with children, and enhance the sustainability of the dairy industry, a crucial sector in the district. We anticipate that this project will bolster production and make nutritious dairy products more accessible at affordable prices. The government of Japan, as a steadfast partner of Sri Lanka, has been actively contributing to the peace building and reconciliation process in the country, particularly in the northern province, through various forms of assistance. Since 2002, Japan has implemented 210 projects under the GGP program, totaling over $54 million, of which 98 projects have been implemented in the northern province. These projects we embark on today are in harmony with Japan's development cooperation policy for Sri Lanka, with specific focus on inclusive growth and mitigating vulnerability.
Newly appointed Ambassador and High Commissioner to Sri Lanka presented their credentials to President Ranil Wickremesinghe at the President's House this morning. Accordingly, the Ambassador of the Kingdom of Thailand to Sri Lanka, Paitun Mahaponnapon, and the High Commissioner of Pakistan to Sri Lanka, retired Major General Fahim Al-Aziz, presented their credentials to President Ranil Wickremesinghe. Minister Ali Sabri and Secretary to the President Samaneka Naika were also present at the occasion.
Minister Bandhu Nagaravardhana says Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation was instrumental in heightening the aspirations, attitudes and thinking of Sri Lankan community in the media history of the country. He made these remarks while taking part in the Women's Day celebrations held at the SLBC premises today. It was organized by International Media Collective. The event was held at the Anand Samarakon studio in SLBC under the theme of She Who Conquers the World. Chief guest of the event was Minister Bandhuna Gunawardena, veteran radio personality Sumana Jayatilaka, veteran television personality Sumana Nellampitiya, veteran journalist Karuna Pereira and senior radio personality and author Dayadi Alvis were felicitated during the event. Parliamentarian Ajit Manna Peruma, chairman of the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation Hudson Samarasinga, president of the International Media Collective Sudharma Kulatunga and others were present at this event.
State Minister Shantha Bandara says that the government will bring the economy back to a positive level by the year 2025. He made these remarks during an event held in Madagampala, Alawwa. The sports meet of the Alawwa Madagampala President's College was held today with the participation of State Minister Shantha Bandara. During the event, the State Minister presented 100,000 rupees to the college.
Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena says at a time when miracles of information technology are changing the world, Korea is bringing support to the schools in Sri Lanka. He made these remarks while addressing an event held yesterday. The ceremony was held to officially award smart classrooms fully equipped with computers donated by the Samuel Foundation of Korea to 5 schools in Sabaragamuwa Province and Central Province. Computers and equipment worth 36.5 million rupees were donated for the smart classrooms of St. Joseph's Girls' School, Gampala Naminayo Central College, Ginigathena Central College, Godakavela Kalutarana School and Ranwala Mahanaga School. Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena appreciated Korea as a country that continues to support Sri Lanka. He said that students are the future generation and the ones to take over the country. At a time when miracles of information technology are changing the world, he said that Korea is bringing support to the schools far away. Therefore, he told the students to obtain its maximum benefits. He said that they understand the need for smart classrooms for knowledge and that they are grateful for the support given by Korean government and the donor institutions to quickly provide smart classrooms to schools in the country. Samuel Foundation President Lee Song-jong addressed the ceremony from Seoul through Zoom, said its foundation would expand this program further in Sri Lanka and take steps to provide relief to school children. Representative of the Samuel Foundation in Sri Lanka, Chai Sang-bu, agreed in this regard. The Sabaragamuwa Province Governor, the Central Province Governor and State Minister Janaka Wakkambara were present at this event.
A delegation led by the Secretary to the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy of Sri Lanka, Sri Bhupinder Singh, engaged in a discussion with the Ministry of Power and Energy today. The discussion was held at the ministry premises. Renewable Energy Corporation capacity building programs, technology transfer, investments, opportunities and policies related to the sector were discussed at the meeting. The delegations will remain in the country for a period of 3 days. High Commissioner of India Santosh Jha was also present on this occasion. Stay with us. Foreign news coming up next.
Big match fun, prima kottumi tiyanaka.
And we take a look at foreign news now. China concluded its week-long annual parliamentary meetings in Beijing yesterday. The annual meeting of the country's parliament began on March 4th. Nearly 3,000 delegates met over last week in Beijing for the annual event. Delegates vowed to enact bills to modernize China's system and capacity for national security and revise laws on national defense education. China also broke with 30 years of tradition by scrapping the Premier's annual post-parliament news conference and revised laws giving the Communist Party more control over the cabinet. This year's economic blueprint laid out plans to open up more areas to foreign investment and reducing market access restrictions in sectors such as manufacturing and services. China is aiming to hit an ambitious goal of around 5% GDP growth this year.
Haiti's Prime Minister Ariel Henry has agreed to resign following weeks of mounting pressure and increasing violence in the country. It comes after regional leaders met in Jamaica yesterday to discuss a political transition in Haiti. Ariel Henry is currently stranded in Puerto Rico after being prevented by armed gangs from returning home. In a video address announcing his resignation, Henry urged Haitians to remain calm. Prime Minister Henry, who had led the country supposedly on an interim basis since July 2021, following former President Jovenel Moïse's assassination, had repeatedly postponed elections, saying security must be restored fast. Many Haitians had questioned him governing the country for this long without an elected president. Heavily armed gangs have controlled the streets of Haitian capital of Port-au-Prince in recent days, demanding the resignation of the unelected Prime Minister. Port-au-Prince and the surrounding region is under a month-long state of emergency, while a curfew has been extended.
Prima Kottumi, Fantamai.
Now we take a look at sports news now. The one-day series between Sri Lanka and Bangladesh will begin tomorrow. Sri Lanka Cricket announced the Sri Lankan squad for the series today.
The squad is comprised of 16 players. Kusal Mendes will captain the side, while Charit Asalanka has been named the vice-captain. Pathum Nissanka has been recalled for the squad after recovering from an injury. Avishka Fernando, Sadir Samaravikrama, Janit Lianage, Kamidu Mendes, Sahan Arachige, Vanidu Hasaranga, Mahesh Tikshana, Dunit Ballalage, Akira Dhananjaya, Chamika Karuna Ratna, Dilshan Madhushankar, Pramod Madhushan and Lahiru Kumara have been named to the squad. The first ODI match between Sri Lanka and Bangladesh will begin tomorrow at 2 p.m. in Chattogram. The second match will be played on the 15th, while the third match will be played on the 18th. The recently concluded T20 series was won by Sri Lanka 2-1.
Prima Stella Set Yogurt.
And that concludes your news bulletin for tonight. We'll be back tomorrow as well with the very latest, together with Sharon and Prashant. Good night.